Hello, and welcome to Speak Honest. I am your host and certified relationship coach, Jenn Noble. It has been my passion for over a decade to help women like you heal what's been holding you back from having the relationships you deserve. Are you struggling with a relationship where you can't seem to voice your emotions, needs, and boundaries without having it blow up in your face? Then you have found the right podcast, my friend. Get ready for practical tips, empowering truths, and honest conversations. Now, let's dive in. Hello, ladies, and welcome back to another episode of Speak Honest. I'm Jenn Noble, your go-to relationship coach and author of the best-selling book, Dance of Attachment. And we are in the middle of our August series on the 4 attachment stances. Now remember, stances, not styles. Because this isn't something you choose. It's something your body learned to hold. And last week we talked about anxious attachment. But today we are moving to the one that looks almost like the exact opposite on the surface, but comes from the exact same place underneath. And that is avoidant attachment, or as I like to call it, the Solo Tango. Now, here's the scenario I want you to sit with for a second. Someone you're actually into sends you a genuinely sweet text. It's something simple, something kind, maybe just checking in because they missed you. And instead of that warm little flutter you might expect would come up, something else shows up for you. There's a tightness in your chest. There's this flicker of a belief that says, oh my God, I need space. Oh my God, they're expecting too much out of me. Maybe even a version of, I need to end this before they expect too much of me and this gets too serious. And the wild part here is there's no real reason for it. Nothing went wrong. They didn't do anything. Nobody did anything. That reaction, pulling away from something good just because it's starting to feel real, that's what we're getting into today. Now, before we dive in, I want to remind you about something. Inside of the Speak Honest Academy, this is exactly the kind of pattern we work on together. Live group coaching calls, real regulation work, and not just understanding your attachment stance intellectually, but actually practicing something different in real time. Now, I'll tell you more about how to get started with us at the end of the episode. But for now, let's dive in. So let's name this one, all right? I call avoidant attachment the Solo Tango. And I do this because that's exactly what it looks like from the outside. A tango is supposed to take 2 people, typically speaking, and moving in tight, coordinated rhythm. But the avoidantly attached dancer, they like to do things on their own. They like to do their own version of it. It's elegant. It's composed. It's in complete control. And even when there's technically a partner right there with them. Now, there's real distance being maintained this entire time. And the signature moves here are subtle and honestly kind of impressive once you see them clearly. There's strategic self-sufficiency, making absolutely sure you never need to ask anyone for anything. There's emotional compartmentalization, the ability to box up a feeling and set it aside like it belongs in a completely different room. And then there's idealization and devaluation shifting, where someone seems amazing right up until they get a little bit too close and start expecting too much out of you. And then suddenly you're noticing every flaw they have. And there's a subtle boundary expansion happening here, quietly creating more space the moment things start to deepen. Often so smoothly the other person doesn't even clock what's happening. Now, I had a client, Jamie, who actually came to me for career coaching. Successful, independent, she had a packed calendar, a great circle of friends. She was amazing. It wasn't until a few sessions in that her relationship pattern started becoming obvious, at least to me at first. Every new man followed the exact same relationship arc. An exciting start, a growing closeness, and then sudden ending a few months later. Always because work had somehow gotten unbelievably busy for Jamie right at that exact moment. Funny how that works every time, huh? She genuinely didn't see it yet. And I want to be really clear here. This isn't about not feeling things. Jamie felt plenty. She had a nice, busy, lovely life, and she felt a lot in her bodies. This was protection in action. A system working exactly as it had been trained to do. So where did that training come from? Well, that's a good question. With Jamie, we traced it back to a childhood built almost entirely around independence. That's how it worked for her because her father was a military officer and he was deployed for months at a time. But her mom, she worked 70-hour weeks as an attorney. Very accomplished, both of her parents. But by 8 years old, this meant that Jamie was making her own dinners, her own lunches, getting herself to school. And when I asked her who she went to as a kid with big feelings, she looked genuinely confused and told me, kids' feelings aren't really relevant, Jen. Do you hear that? Do you hear how she's dismissing her feelings of herself as a kid? And that wasn't cruelty from her parents, right? They weren't being mean to her. It's just that the environment was what it was. And it taught her three things that followed her into adulthood. One, that emotional needs are an imposition on other people. Two, that independence isn't just valuable, it's required. And three, that needing less is what makes you more lovable. Now, there's a nervous system piece here that I think explains so much. Avoidant attachment has been described almost like an iceberg, calm and composed above the surface, but underneath a whole system of suppressed processing. Brain imaging research has actually shown reduced activity in areas like the anterior insula and the cingulate cortex, regions involved in emotional processing in people with avoidant attachment. And essentially, the brain turns the volume down on feelings that might lead to needing someone. And Stephen Porges has a term for what this creates in the body, autonomic incongruence, which is basically your system pressing the gas and the brake at the exact same time, right? You're wanting connection, but you're also bracing against it at the exact same time. And this is exactly why avoidant and anxious partners find each other so often. It's a lock and key dynamic at first. The anxious partner's warmth melts through some of the avoidance defenses, and the avoidance self-sufficiency feels like strength to the anxious partner. But eventually, the anxious partner's need for reassurance triggers the avoidance need for space, and you get a pursue and withdrawal cycle that ends up confirming both people's deepest fears. Now, here's where it turned for Jamie. Once she started tracking the pattern in an honest and compassionate way, she noticed something she couldn't unsee. The work emergencies only ever seemed to show up around the 2-month mark in a relationship. Funny enough, right when things started to get real. And that timing was too consistent to be a coincidence. But once she saw it clearly, she couldn't pretend it was just about her career anymore or just about him anymore. She was the common denominator. And I want to be really clear about something here because this part matters. Jamie's independence was never the problem. It's a genuine strength. And I truly mean that. It's amazing. The issue was that it had become her only strategy. Every situation, no matter what it called for, got handled the exact same way. And just like we talked about last week, this is trainable. Neuroplasticity means you can expand your range without giving up what already works for you. This isn't about becoming someone who needs constant closeness. It's about adding a new capacity alongside the ones you already have. See, secure connection was never about surrendering your independence or giving it up or only living for your partner. It's about choosing connection on top of it, not instead of it. All right, so if today's episode felt a little too familiar, or if you've already noticed yourself pulling away right when something good starts to feel real, I want you to remember that what Jamie eventually learned was that your independence was never the thing standing in the way of love or a relationship of what you deserve. It was just doing all the work by itself. And you don't have to choose between being strong and being close. You genuinely get to have both. So thank you so much for being here with me today. And if any part of this episode felt a little too close to home, I want you to know that's not something you have to sit with on your own. I offer a free 30-minute attachment assessment. It's just me and you, where we get clear on exactly which stance you're dancing and talk through what it would actually look like to shift it. And if it feels like a fit, that conversation is also your way into the Speak Honest Academy, where we do the real work together with the regulation and the somatic affirmation practice and learning new rhythms in real time and support. Now, you can find the link to schedule your assessment with me at danceofattachment.com/assessment, Or if that is way too many words to remember, just click on the link in the show notes. It'll be right there. You just fill out a form or you schedule it in right away. Now, I will speak with you all next week. Take care. As we wrap up today's conversation, always remember that healing is a journey, not a destination. And it is an honor to be a part of your healing journey. If you want to dig deeper into the topics we covered today, be sure to head over to our show notes where you can find all of the valuable information mentioned in today's episode right there. And please remember to rate, review, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's podcast. Your feedback means the world to us and helps others discover our podcast. Until next time, remember to speak up and speak honest.